welcome to HistoricHole. My name is David, and as always, I am joined by Jason and Michael.
Hello.
Hello. And we here at HistoricHole, we take a funny look at history, sometimes people, sometimes events, sometimes just things that happen in like World War II, you've heard of it. And today...
Oh, we will be doing a person.
Ah, Moderna. It's almost like
We're
the
doing
Moderna
a person.
Which person?
Timothy Leary. We talked about him.
I thought we weren't doing a two-parter on this shit.
Don't say the V word. You never know what algos are tracking us.
Oh,
I'm paranoid over here. I took the brown acid.
I thought he meant vagina.
Of course you did.
But anywho,
Follow along.
so we
Send your emails to jason@jason.com in case you're wondering.
Misogynist pig.
we touched on him a little bit in the last episode where we talked a little bit about LSD. He came up.
I think we only talked about LSD.
Yeah.
It was the LSD episode.
Anywho, Timothy Leary was born. Timothy Francis Leary was born October 22nd, 1920.
He liked to go by Tron.
In Springfield, Massachusetts. He was the only child of an Irish Catholic family. His father, Timothy Tote Leary, was a dentist.
So his middle name was Tote.
No, that was his nickname.
Tote?
Tote. Tote Leary. He'll clean your teeth
He totes cleans
for a
your
good
teeth.
fee. I don't know how they talked back then.
I don't know. Well, you should. You were there.
Nominal fee.
But Tote,
How much do you like your wife?
he didn't because he left her
Oh,
when Timothy was
wow.
14.
I'm not talking about Tote Leary.
It got real fast there.
Yeah, Tote left when Timothy was 14, and he attended the Classical High School in Western Massachusetts City.
Tote Jr.
But under pressure from his father, 4 years later, he attended West Point Military Academy.
Wait, so his dad left and then pressured him to go to the military.
Yeah.
He totes pressured him. It's Totes Leary.
I have abdicated my responsibility as a father. Now go do as I say. I would feel like I would tell him to get fucked.
Right?
Or like just take a bunch of the brown acid.
Yeah, well, he didn't like it. He got numerous demerits while there. He got in trouble for not ratting out other cadets. He also got in trouble for binge drinking and not owning up to it.
Well, these are all like, it's all shades of gray. It's like, oh yeah, rat out your other cadets, Totes Jr. It's like, and you're also drinking on the job. Like, well, I can't say that either.
Timmy Tight Lips
Right?
was his nickname.
So the other
Totes tight.
cadets started to shun him. Like, no one talked to him or anything.
Walked in the room.
He was a cool guy. He wasn't
he
giving anyone
protected
up with.
them.
Right? But he was getting in
He
trouble.
protected them.
He was getting in trouble all the time.
He brought him into a protection racket. Come on, what's wrong with that?
Your toes protected.
Just pay me.
There was a
Are you protecting me or pay me? You'll be protected.
This is how that works. It's protection from me protecting myself from you.
He puts his arm around him. Let me just tell you, you're going to need to be protected. You're going to need to pay me. I'm Totes Leary Jr.
so
My dad hates me.
he eventually got out of West Point. Then attended.
He
Eventually.
escaped via the night.
So what? Like after a year, two?
It was a couple years.
Okay.
In
He headed
1941,
east.
he attended the University of Alabama, much to the chagrin of his Massachusetts-born family.
Roll Totes.
Alabama, going down south,
Going to Bama.
where he enrolled in the ROTC program there, and was actually a pretty good student.
ROTC. I was in ROTC.
Yeah.
And JROTC, which was the naval version of it. I assume he was in the bike riding, tripping balls version of ROTC.
Right. Well, while at the University of Alabama, he was also started to cultivate his interest in psychology.
When you're surrounded by Alabamians.
You begin to wonder about people.
Huh. How does this work?
What makes them tick?
It was sort of brought under the wing of one of his teachers named Donald Ramsdell, who will come up later. He also,
Good to know.
Leary was also very interested in biology. So biology, psychology, how does the body work and the mind?
Ologies, and ologies.
But he got kicked out of the university after a year because
For performing too much biology around the campus.
for spending a night in the female dormitory.
Exactly. I was right. I see how this way.
A degenerate.
Which
Gambler.
which actually during 1942 lost him his student deferment, so he was enlisted in the U.S. Army.
I like how there was someone still doing the job of like, man, you're a terrible student. While the world was at war in 1942. He's like, I don't even want to be kicking people out of school. You're an idiot. Totes Leary.
So he started basic training at Fort Eustis in 1943.
Eustis or Eustace?
I think it's
Eustis. Eustis. In 1943.
Eustis.
And he attended the Army Specialized Training Program, so he just continued studying psychology.
He's like talked his way into that. Use psychology.
Right?
How can I not fight and do all the hard work? Can I just like talk to the soldiers?
Studied at Georgetown University and Ohio State University.
Beantown.
Prestigious.
Enrolled in the Army. So he
Devil Georgetown. God damn it, they lost me that fucking one.
Deviltown. I was born in a devil town. Great song.
So he was on his way to join the Syracuse Army Air Base in New York when he meets up with Ramsdell again. His
Donald?
Yeah, Donald Ramsdell. And Ramsdell, during the war, he's been holed up in this hospital, just helping mental patients. So Leary's like, that sounds fun. So he finagles his way into doing that.
That's super fun.
And he gets himself reassigned to work under Ramsdell as a psychometrician.
A lot of people probably were not like requesting these kind of jobs at the time. And that's probably why he got those jobs. Because everyone else is like, Hitler's about to conquer the world. He's like, how about the psychotropic events? Can I just do? Oh, I guess no one else is applied. Here you go, totes. Leary.
While stationed there, he met Marianne Bush.
That's right, Ricker.
They got married in April of 1945.
So wait. When did he meet her, and when did they get married?
They got married in
April of
1945.
I know when they got married. So when did they meet? You said they met. So
Yeah.
was it like a month love affair?
Dude, that's how things were in the past, bro.
Right?
People
This is
just like
1940s.
people met for like 2 weeks and were like, "Oh,
Did
we're
they, though?
smitten. We're in
you
love.
sure?
We know."
Houdini did it in a week.
Dude, yeah,
Well,
because
no,
people,
Houdini just literally is like, we're married. Like, bizarre.
life expectancy was like 2 weeks back then, so you fucking get it done.
If you made it to
Pop out a
voting
couple
age.
kids so you could continue the bloodline
My last
before
name
you could
must
die.
live.
Dude, people these days don't even get it.
They don't get it. You don't get it.
And you never will. But Leary got it. And,
Did he?
right? So the war ends. He gets honorably
Shut up, Michael.
discharged, receives some just participation medals, such as the World War II Victory Medal.
Always like the honorable discharge. I'm like, so you fucked up, but we liked you.
You're a good kid.
Honorable. You don't want the dishonorable discharge when they like hang you from a Chinook helicopter.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not what happens. I'm pretty sure they just kick
You don't know what
out.
happens.
You don't know what happens.
Give me the book.
But all of the studying he was doing at those multiple
Acting
universities.
like a Scarface if they fuck up. Jesus Christ, dude.
I don't know. Do you put that past our government or any government? Especially at the time of Totes Leary. Tripping balls. You don't think there was someone who was talking a little bit of shit and they're like,
Shit wasn't happening yet.
He hasn't divulged in any hallucinations.
I didn't say
He
he
isn't
did.
divulged. He
I
isn't
didn't say he did.
indulged.
Yeah, that one.
He hasn't divulged his indulgence. Divulgence of Indulgence. Great band.
He He hasn't divulged his love for men.
Anywho, all the classes he was taking while in the Army, he got those credits transferred to the University of Alabama.
Transfer my Army credits to like something else.
And
I killed a bunch of dudes over in Nam, or Europe.
he was Pacific Theater. I don't even know if he made it there.
Yeah, if you've listened to any historical episodes, Jason apparently thinks the Pacific Theater was not as worthy or as good as the European.
As we could tell, most people just stayed home.
I still have a living relative that was in the Pacific Theater.
I do. Oh, all my.
And they're still there fighting the war.
Yeah.
He's on Guadalcanal.
No, he's never stopped.
We've tried to contact him. He's a BlackBerry.
So he graduated in August of 1945, and then started to pursue a career in academia. Wanted to be a teacher.
What? Who'd want to do that?
Yeah, I know.
Teach? You know what they say, those who can't do teach.
Exactly.
Well, he received a master's.
That's a joke. Of
Rece-
course, there's plenty of
you're
resilient and brilliant and downright.
No, David, you're wrong.
And those
All teachers are bad.
And those who can't teach, teach Jim.
A tab.
Spray paint that, bitches.
Then he received a master's degree in psychology.
From who?
The State College of Washington in Pullman.
Yeah, prestigious fucking school right there. He was like at Georgetown and Ohio State, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm getting my master's at fucking bumfuck nowhere."
Yeah, this is like Hill Shack. Why do they call it that? It's like, well, it's literally a shack on the hill, and some guy handed me a piece of paper. I'm a master.
Well, while he's studying it, in 1947, Mary Ann gives birth to their first child.
How'd that happen?
Susan. And then 2 years later,
Susan Leary.
Then
Susan.
2 years later,
I bet she's a fucking smoke show.
Oh, God. Eventually, man. Have we established that Timothy Leary was like the sexiest man alive?
I mean, how do you think he
All of his
fucking
offspring.
he
got all
had
these-
5 wives. Another fact is that 2 years later, his son Jack was born. And then in 1950, he received a PhD in clinical psychology.
Are you sure?
Psychology
Psychology.
from the University of California, Berkeley. Which is, I guess, a step up.
I mean, at least it's a school. In God's name.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
No! What?
Yeah, that was a visual thing. What are you doing?
Dude, it's so fucked. It's so fucked. I can't believe where this story goes.
Exactly.
Where's a pic? Does it not have a pic? I just want to see a picture of her.
Okay, no. Hold on. Who's her? We're getting confused.
Susan Leary.
Yeah, Susan.
His daughter.
It was all over our giant computer screens all over the...
That wasn't her, though. I don't know if we have a picture of her.
All right, well, let's continue while David does a deep vibe.
Whoa! God, this is crazy. All right, Jason, continue the story.
Yeah, what are you doing?
1952,
Tell me what you're doing.
the family decided to take a trip to Spain for a year.
Might as well.
And lived off some grants that Timothy had received. So he was,
Totes grants.
using that money to have a good time. in
All
Spain.
right, Totes, I think we need to retire it.
All right, it's gone.
The horse is beaten. Yes. You've beaten the horse to death.
Well, they're having a good time. The family's doing well, but the interpersonal relationship between Mary Ann and Timothy has divulged into just drunken arguments every night.
They're having a good time if that's your definition of a good time. Is a drunken argument.
Yeah, but-
Every night. Why am I even here? We came here to save our life.
Well, it was the 50s. That's what everyone did. They
Yeah.
got drunk and yelled at each other.
It was the evening entertainment.
Yeah. And also infidelity,
Well, some
Duh.
nights you took a break. Some nights it was the neighbor's turn. You could listen to their drama, and you kind of shared.
But Tuesdays were martini nights.
And then you judge. You look out the window.
There was only 2 shows on TV.
Yeah.
And then it just went off. There was just, imagine that. There was nothing on TV. They just didn't have it. They're
Yeah,
well,
Yeah,
guess we'll turn it off. And then they figured out, if we run it all the time, we can sell ads constantly and just make money.
Well, yeah, when it came to TV, it's like you could turn it off, but like eventually just like the signal would turn off.
Will start to talk.
All the kids.
Well, Marianne couldn't deal with it, so she killed herself.
We hear HistoricHole. We say when you can't deal with it,
Kill yourself. And it happened in 1955.
yeah. The roaring 50s. The roaring suicides. 50s.
So now Timothy...
We don't endorse this behavior. Let's just go.
We're just saying this what happened.
Don't
We're
ki-
HistoricHole.
Don't kill yourself unless
you want to.
Don't kill yourself unless you're in marketing
Or in the government. Or anyone who hates it.
or see
We're going to list of people that die.
or anybody who's just not cool according to Twitter.
All those nephews shall die.
So now Timothy is raising little Susan and Jack all by himself.
Oh my God, this is devastating.
Don't kill yourself.
But he's also still doing his research, and he publishes The Interpersonal Diagnosis of Personality.
Man, what a Chad. He just keeps going.
Which is hailed as the most important book on psychotherapy of the year.
Dude,
Of the year?
I'm starting,
Not even the decade.
I'm starting to question, though, why she killed herself. I mean, living with Tim, was he just like really that fucking... I mean, he was a psych major, dude. Those guys are fucked.
You're right.
Like, they're so fucked up. What if he like drove her to do it?
That's exactly probably what happened.
Because he was like, I need to get her out of the way. And so he like just little by little drove her insane. HistoricHole.
Yeah, Timothy Leary speaks to my heart. I drive people away with violence. No,
And as we touched on in the last episode, May 13th of 1957, Gordon Wasson published his article in Life talking about magic mushrooms. Ooh. And then Timothy Leary decides to go down to
Life
Mexico.
magazine?
That's right.
Yeah, and take some mushrooms. Now, the next year, 1958. Yes.
You're like, the year 1950. Yeah, the next year.
Oh, no, it is 1958. The National Institute of Mental Health.
The Department of the National Institute of...
Not the Department of Mental Health. The National Institute. The National Institute of Mental Health decided to revoke his grants because he didn't meet up with one of the inspectors that was popping around because he was in Mexico doing mushrooms.
yeah, sometimes you're like...
Priorities, folks.
You know, as the old Steve Martin joke goes, it's like, if any time the government asks you, why did you not pay your taxes? You simply say two words. I forgot. Why are you in Mexico? I'm Toads Leary.
So after that happened,
He's Timothy.
he took the kids and went to
Toads
Europe.
Timothy.
Took the kids, went to Europe to live for a while, living off grants again and some insurance policies on the wife.
I mean, if you're getting grants willy-nilly,
shit.
if you get a few
Dude.
taken away.
Did you just hear that?
Yeah.
Insurance policies.
Yeah.
Another piece of the puzzle. Another piece of the puzzle falls into place. We got this motherfucker. Dead to rights.
As somebody calls somebody.
Exhume him.
We should call somebody.
Call the FBI.
And be like, guess what? We figured it out.
Well, it couldn't have because
What did you figure out?
FBI was up his ass for a lot of things. So
What if we did call the FBI and be like, hey, man, we figured something out. What did you figure out? I'm like, go listen to our episode. Give us 5 stars on iTunes, FBI. And then you hang up the phone. And then, of course, the Chinook shows up.
Of course.
well,
We only use these Chinooks for occasions, podcast-wise.
in 1959, he returns to the U.S. And starts lecturing at Harvard, some psychology stuff. And as we also discussed in the LSD episode, just starts doing experiments with students using LSD.
Yeah, experiments. He's fucking throwing raves, dude.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, dude, you want to be experimental girl? You're like a little bit older for me, but that's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Drink the vial.
Him and his partner, Richard Alpert, who would become Ram Dass.
Yeah, Ram Dass. Not Ram Dass.
Ram Dass.
You said it like
He rammed ass.
Ram Dass. We went and took a bunch of vials of acid, and then I wrote a bunch of trippy shit in a book.
And then I rammed ass.
Yeah. Yeah, my book is called Buy High Thar Now.
My stripper name.
Actually, Be Here Now. I know Rob.
They conducted the Harvard psilocybin project, where they were just, giving synthesized psilocybin to students. But the problem that the faculty had with it was, Timothy, Rom, you're also taking the drugs, so there's no control. Like, you're supposed to be administering, not being involved.
Don't get high on your own supply, man.
And when they show up and they're just sitting in the middle, there's just like naked people all around them. It's like, this is the whole entire engineering department. It's like, yeah, man. Can't control what happens. I'm rammed ass. And I'm totes Larry.
And so he eventually gets canned. He gets fired from Harvard.
Big surprise.
And
This will never stand.
He's just fucking dosing students and having raves,
know,
and then
right?
he gets fired.
And then other students are jealous because they want to do the drugs too.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck?
That's why they got him fired. It's always what it is, jealousy.
We have no majors here anymore other than psychology in the whole Harvard community.
A black market erupted around campus with
Oh, really?
LSD for the kids who weren't in on the studies.
In case you're ever wondering, if you introduce some sort of substance or something to do something, there will be a black market for it very soon.
That erupts.
It's always a little bit
Eruption.
leftover.
Well,
Eddie Van Halen would be
Rammed ass gets
rammed ass. I don't want to hear shit.
he gets fired as well. So him and Leary,
Of course. They're like, isn't your name Richard? Call me Ram. There's no rave.
But that's the situation. Rammed ass was probably just like, hey,
Rammed ass. Okay, it's Ram Dass. I was like, we mispronounce things too much around
I'm
here.
saying it on purpose.
I know you are.
Rammed
Say it.
ass.
But I think people are, no, you were not. Jason, you were not. Yeah, and of course his friend Richard.
But his mispronunciation gave birth to rammed ass. So I can't.
Rammed ass. If you say it very quickly, Rammed ass.
Rammed ass.
yeah, it's my stripper.
We're like,
All I
okay.
know is that I've met Ram
Okay.
Dass.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, crazy.
Yeah.
I emailed him.
Yeah. Let's say yeah. So Jason here has no idea that we are all good friends with Rob Dass here. So I'm a little bit
Rammed
offended
ass.
about the rammed ass. He's dead now. Rest in ass. So draw some of those weird pictures.
Well, him and Ram Dass go to Massachusetts to continue
Oh, it's rammed ass.
their studies in psychedelics under the guise of religious freedom. And it was their experiments there that caught the attention of three siblings, Peggy, Billy, and Tommy Hitchcock.
That Tommy Hitchcock.
Hitchcock and rammed ass.
Who were some millionaires' heirs, and they were like, "Well, we'll rent you this 63-acre or 64-bedroom mansion, and you can have your parties here." They're like, "Okay." So they moved.
I mean, who am I to say no?
But okay.
They moved in, and they just started throwing down LSD all the time. He met another woman there named Bridget something. Quite
God damn
All right,
it.
let's keep it rolling.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
It's
God.
like,
in 1964, and they had a year-long marriage.
Then he convinced her to kill herself.
Then he killed himself and he came back to life. Then he convinced her to kill himself.
No,
there's
she actually lived and went on to marry Robert Thurman in 1967 and gave birth to Uma Thurman in 1970, the actress.
It's all connected.
Yeah,
And then thus,
that's crazy.
Quentin Tarantino loved feet.
So in the mid 1960s, the U.S. government started getting involved. Like, what are all these people doing, taking LSD?
Wait a minute.
So they started doing some, interfering in people's lives.
I don't see any tax money coming in.
Yeah.
Wait, you mean to tell me that the government was interfering?
You're telling me. You're telling me.
You
And they-
mean to tell me?
They were running some investigations, and one of their key witnesses, an expert on the matter,
It was rammed
was
ass.
Timothy. No, it was Timothy Leary. Leary's argument was it's not in how you control them, it's in how you use them in the proper setting and with the right medical professionals. Any hallucinogen would be okay.
He was chugging liquid LSD before
He was an
went in there.
idealist.
Yeah.
So let's be fair, he was saying these things under the influence of lots of drugs.
Lots of LSD.
One of the big people against Leary was Senator Ted Kennedy, who point blank asked him,
Chattanooga! No, I'm just kidding.
is LSD extremely dangerous? And Leary responded with, sir, a motor car is dangerous if used improperly. Human stupidity and ignorance is the only danger human beings face in this world.
Is this before Chattanooga, though? He said that?
1965. So it might be.
I don't remember when that happened. Yeah, the official story, they kind of throw it around because they were too worried about Ramdas, and they're like, oh, shit. We have the future president who just, like, drunk drove a woman to a lake. Don't quote me on that.
No, he did that shit.
Historical.
But we know how the story ends, and the government outlaws the usage of LSD.
Yeah, we don't understand it. Illegal.
Yeah.
But in 1967, he decided to found the League for Spiritual Discovery, a religion with LSD as its holy sacrament, to sort of hide under the religious freedoms in the Constitution.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yep.
It's like you're really kind of reaching on that one. It's just like, well, are we a cult? I don't know.
That's like some Charles Manson shit.
It is kind of bullshit, I think, though, that, the Western religions, I mean, even the Eastern ones, but you kind of have to, have some clout as a religion. It's like, well, you were established like 1,000 years ago.
It's like, yo, you heard
know.
of like the Bible? Yeah, we were there.
Or even like Buddhists and shit like that.
Yeah, you heard of Gandhi? We were there.
Hindus. And yeah, it's like, it's all very old and like they're protected. But then like Leary comes along with his new religion and they're like, well, fuck that. That's just a cult, bitch. And probably didn't give him protections.
Well, he actually only allowed 360 members in the league. But he wrote a pamphlet, Start Your Own Religion, and passed that out to people he turned away.
And thus, here we are today.
Start your own cult.
Start your own religion. See, that is the kind of message that's gotten it like been proliferated throughout today. It's like, just do whatever you want. Hey, man, just like start your own company.
And one of the people that he gave that pamphlet to was Charles Manson.
God damn it.
So he meets and marries his third wife at one of the parties.
Third wife.
Rosemary Woodruff in 1967. And the event was actually
But she was a smoke show.
directed by Ted Marklin of Bonanza fame.
Bonanza.
Bonanza.
I mean, it was like the most popular TV show at the time.
And the whole party was on LSD for it.
That must have been an interesting time.
Yeah.
What about all the liquor we're normally drinking? This is making me think about how terrible I am and how much I beat my wife.
But to back up to 1965, because I don't know,
I wasn't on Bonanza.
Put things in order, was his first run-in with the law, was when him and his girlfriend at the time, Rosemary, and their two kids, Susan and Jack, decided to take a trip to Mexico. But when they got there, they didn't have the right visa, so they're like, well, we'll go back to Texas and spend the night, and then we'll get the right visa and blah, blah, blah. But Rosemary forgot that drugs are illegal in the U.S., and she had a joint with her in Mexico, and when they were driving back, she was like, well, I can't throw it out the window. We're on the bridge. So
Doing that panic thing, should I eat it?
So she shoved it in her undergarments, where the Border Patrol found it, and and Leary took the rap for it. No, that's mine. Oh, okay.
Who's actually talking
I know
about her
you
crotch.
found it literally. I know you literally found it in her deep colon. But that's mine.
So
We had the X-rays at the time. Like, we're gonna find this joint. What were you doing in Mexico?
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Desperate.
So he's convicted of
Don't ask me about it.
convicted of possession under the marijuana Tax Act of
Marijuana.
1937. On March 11th, 1966, sentenced to 30 years in prison, fined
Marijuana.
$30,000, and had to
Shit.
go psychiatric treatment.
Whoops.
Fucking 30 years in prison for a joint.
Yeah, but he repeals it because of self-incrimination and how it defies the Fifth Amendment. So he got off from that.
Yeah, he did. He probably did get off. He went home and
really
jerked
weird.
the fuck up.
That's a really weird argument because that would just mean, like, what precedent is that? Like, confessions are all meaningless now because you've self-incriminated. You just get everything thrown out. That's just weird. Whatever, continue.
In 1966, he had his Playboy interview where he stated that LSD could cure homosexuality. That he, in fact, witnessed a lesbian ingesting LSD. And
He's like,
becoming
except for you guys. You guys can keep doing what you're doing.
He backtracked later.
He backtracked after he saw all those
was-
beautiful women.
I was on a pretty heavy dose when I said
Like in a pretzel maneuver.
I was about 10 tabs deep when I said that. So don't quote me.
Yeah, quote me on 8 tabs, not 10.
He gets arrested again.
God damn it.
Big surprise.
December 26, 1968 in Laguna Beach, California.
Of course.
He
that
had 2
motherfucker.
roaches on him this time.
Dude, why? Just throw them away. Like saving the
Just like put them like in the bench.
Wait, nice, Michael. Knocking my shit over.
You're good.
You don't need to touch it. Just leave it alone. I'll touch whatever I want. Just leave it alone.
He said they were planted, but he still got convicted of it. Took it to the Supreme Court, and then we have Leary versus the United States.
Awesome. Imagine how he felt about that.
Which declared the Marijuana Tax Act unconstitutional and reversed his conviction of 1965.
Like years later.
Yes.
So this guy actually was kind of like a, actually did some meaningful stuff in terms of like law for drugs.
Like inadvertently, I feel like, though.
And then
He's to save his own ass.
Exactly.
Getting precedent set. Just somehow stumbling into good legal arguments in his fucking acid-addled mind.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's there with like all these naked women around him. Like,
well,
He's probably, the acid is just like so many thoughts going through his head. He's able to see like all of the different perspectives, like legal wise. So he's just like, I know every angle. I've accounted for everything. It's like limitless. He's like Bradley Cooper.
exactly. He's like moving the things. Like, here are the ultimate possibilities. He's like moving around in his mind. He's like, I can do this. I can do that.
well, the next thing he wants to do is the day that the ruling comes out, he decides I'm going to run for California governor against the incumbent Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, okay.
Well, just like what's her name nowadays?
His campaign slogan was "Come together, join the party." And on June 1st, 1969, he met with John Lennon and Yona Oko, and then John Lennon wrote the song "Come Together."
So all I know is that Yona Oko is the reason behind everything.
Isn't it crazy how Leary was just like he's influencing culture, law.
He probably was
what
like
a force
he was
this one
probably, like,
fucking dude was.
Exactly. Like he was probably like a little bit smart, but I think he was just like, if you're the first one to do acid and you're like,
Fucking evil genius.
yeah, exactly.
He got all the kids on drugs.
He's like Timothy Luther. You wanted to kill Superman.
Okay.
Hey, Superman was invented before acid. He's like, the only reason I'm inventing this is so I can kill Superman.
I guess in a way, if like the analogy that you're working with there, it's like Superman represents conventional Christian conservative values, and
It's like, if you really look deep into anything, you can like just draw the parallels to everything and everything. It just always goes back to Superman. Batman.
Well, I guess it really doesn't work out because in 19
oh really? Because Ronnie Reagan, his career ended. Timothy Leary bodied him.
This B-movie actor fuck who's trying to kill the Soviet Union. It's
No
like,
one
what?
beats Ronnie.
Well, no, in January of 1970, the 1968 charge comes back on him, and he gets a 10-year,
Excuse me?
Ronnie gives him a call. He DOJ a call.
right?
They're like looking through all the papers, like, hey, this guy's still like could be arrested.
He
asshole off my back? He's gaining in the polls.
sentenced to 20 years.
Read my lips. Totes Leary
That's
needs to
fucking-
go to
That's
jail.
Bush.
George H.W.
God damn it! Somebody sue me. Read my lips. No new. No new.
I'll shoot you like Reagan.
He gets in prison, and when he gets there, he's given a psychological test to sort of see where each of the inmates will prosper and where they should be in the structure of prison. What jobs they should be doing.
I'm gonna take on this task.
Yeah, who got nominated for that?
It was like, who asked?
Yeah, right.
Of course, though.
Doing
no.
laundry, cooks.
It's very progressive. It's very
forestry.
forestry,
Forestry, of course.
Yeah.
When you're on the
Birdhouses.
island in the
Yeah.
middle of the ocean. No.
Gotta have a bird.
Well, Leary had actually made most of these tests.
birdhouses. Oh,
No, the psychological tests.
yeah. It's like
So he answered it in a way where he would be positioned in forestry, where he would just be working with plants all day.
It's like when you're trying to
While in
buy
prison.
porn online. It's like, hey, match all the street lights in the video or the picture. Like, oh yeah, I built this test.
It's the Lucas Tower.
So he ends up as a gardener in a lower security prison,
Gardener.
and then he escapes in September of 1970.
He just kept digging a
How
hole.
how
I'm the
long was he
gardener.
in there for? Was he going to be sentenced for? Because I would probably
20 years.
Yeah, I'd fucking escape too. I'd be like, this is bullshit. Let's
And
go.
with some old,
Timothy Leary crawled to 300 yards of God knows what.
some of his old party buddies were a part of the Weathermen, which was this sort of radical socialist organization. So they helped pop him out.
They were like the tornado chasers in Twister. Like he gives them a call, like, I need you guys to pick me up. Yeah, man, we've been waiting for this.
See, dude, like this is what the fucking radical socialists were doing back in the day. Like springing fucking dudes from prison. Fucking Antifa gets like fucking kicked in the street and starts crying. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah,
Up the
man.
ante. Spring people from prison if
Yeah,
you want to
man.
impress me.
Dude, I saw Sean Connery break into the Alcatraz and break out. You can't impress me. Antifa.
So he goes to Algeria, where
Yeah,
he
might as well be Antifa. Rhea.
goes to Algeria, where he hangs out with some shady people, and then determines that he is actually probably being held hostage. So him and Rosemary go to Switzerland, where they hang out with a high-end gun runner.
Well, so they weren't
As
that
one is wont to do.
Well, yeah, but they weren't that hostage. Right.
Yeah, to where they can't,
They're
leave.
like, I think you guys are trying to make me a hostage. Oh no, we're totally not. As they're like,
So
pulling
it was
the
kind
gate.
it was kind of like an Elizabeth Smart situation here.
We're going.
You
to
could find your way out if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to peace.
It was a
country.
loose kidnapping.
They kind of threw the lasso. I'm like, hey man, if you want to tie yourself up,
But the
Make yourself at home.
make yourself kidnapped.
well,
Make yourself a hostage.
I guess all the travel was weighing on
You
Rosemary.
can put a bag on your head. It's like you can't see who we are.
Sock in your mouth.
Rosemary leaves Timothy in Switzerland.
Good.
Yeah.
Get away from that dude. He's probably starting to get in her head, and she's like, I want to fucking kill myself if I don't get near this.
Rosemary's Baby.
Get away from this guy.
But then Leary immediately became involved with a Swiss-born British socialite, Joanna Harcourt Smith.
Wow.
Immediately.
I bet she was a smoke show.
Someone's got to be a spoke show in this episode.
Yeah, I'm fucking hedging my bets here.
They got married in a hotel room under the influence of cocaine and LSD for
She was spoke show. She
and
hovered
binged
down.
for 2 weeks. Or for 2 weeks after they were introduced. Yeah. Yeah. Cocaine and LSD. Was their wedding.
Name a better duo.
You know what? Cocaine. Heh. On our left, we have cocaine and his family, and on our right, we have LSD and her family. And they now join in a beautiful union in this shitty hotel in the middle of Europe in the 50s.
Acid is bold. Acid is blind.
But acid knows no boundaries.
The new couple
Neither
traveled.
does my love.
The new couple traveled to Vienna and Beirut, and then finally they're on their way to Afghanistan. Now, all of these places are non-extradition countries,
As
but
one is wont to do.
the FBI figures that, you know what, if it's an American plane, we can get him on the plane. So in Afghanistan, they apprehend him
Come on this plane.
on the plane, and take him back to the United States.
God dang it.
Gotcha, bitch.
His bail is set at
Trusted you.
His bail is set at $5 million because the judge feared that if he was allowed to travel freely, he will speak publicly and spread his ideas.
Which, we can't be having that.
Just like Barbara Walters.
We can't be having that free exchange of ideas now.
He was facing 95 years.
95 years. Wow.
More than 94.
Decided to head his own defense, but that didn't really work because it only took him 2 hours to deliberate.
Well, no, it's because he had no
Guilty.
defense. He was tripping balls. It was like, here are my lawyers. And he was just rolling around the center of the court.
But he only had to serve 15 years, so he went to Folsom Prison.
Oh.
Yeah. And while there, he was placed in solitary confinement. Just don't let him talk to anyone.
With Johnny Cash.
No. He couldn't see him, but he could hear him, and they had multiple conversations. But in the cell next to him was Charles Manson.
So you're telling me Johnny Cash, Timothy Leary, and Charles Manson were just like...
Hanging out in Folsom Prison.
So they clearly were taking acid and like tripping balls and doing all sorts of shit. Because like you don't just sit there in like a cell.
Well, Manson actually was wondering and asked Timothy Leary, he's like, why'd you give all those kids LSD if you didn't want to control them?
Of course he asked that.
Hey, good question if you're trying to do that.
Yeah.
And Timothy Leary's just like, because I'm not a fucking psycho?
Neither am I. Don't worry, neither am I. I'm Timothy.
But to sort of get out of it, he told the FBI, hey, I'll give you information. So he became an FBI informant to get out of jail.
Listen, I'll just give you what you want.
We heard historical.
You broke me.
Yeah, we're going to end up as informants.
You either die a hero or live enough suck.
What? You either die here or you
whatever.
live enough.
That's what it is.
Enough
We're not
suck.
even.
Yep.
So anyway, I guess that's it for this week. We'll cover part 2 of this bitch ass's life. We'll cover part 2 of bitch ass Timothy Leary's life.
Timothy.
Thank you for pointing out my vocal stutter.
Stutter.
Have a stutter, and if you criticize it, you know what? That's bigotry. All right, let's get to the shill stuff. Give us 5 stars on iTunes if we're worth it. Even if we're not worth it, delude yourself into thinking we are. Take some acid and be like, I'm just going to make that reality now. They are.
I'll give them 10
5 stars. Yeah, give us 10 stars. Why not?
Give us like fucking infinity stars.
If you are listening but you like watching, well, we're on YouTube and you can watch us and then criticize our looks and drive us to suicide through online bullying.
Especially David.
Bringing that back.
David.
Yeah.
Our awareness campaign.
Make David kill himself.
Our online bullying awareness campaign.
Hashtag make David kill himself.
Make Dillard.
Make Dylan David kill himself.
You can tell that we are totally on top of things tonight. Follow us on the social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter. We post the full episode on IGTV. Get some play there. Get some play.
Yeah, some action. A little action.
Word of mouth is the best advertising that we can get. So if you liked it, please tell people about it. That would be awesome.
That would be stellar.
Because people tell us that like they like it, but you don't tell anybody. So tell somebody.
How do we know if you like it if you don't tell people?
Yeah, you only tell us. And guess what? We think you're all bots. We don't believe
it's
you.
just soothing our ego.
Exactly. You're just trying to be nice.
Don't be nice.
Like,
be mean.
God. Yeah, be mean.
We need haters.
Be worse.
Curb stomp Michael's balls.
Yeah, do that. I agree.
You know
All
what?
right.
Hashtag curb stomp Michael's balls.
Michael's balls.
Michael's balls. MHA, however you spell Michael, and then BHALLS. Balls.
You can email us at historical@gmail.com if you'd like to stomp on Michael's balls.
Yeah, lots of H's in historical. Balls.
Bowels.
If you have a tiger, feel free to... I will put whatever it is attracted to food-wise on my groin, and it will attack my balls. Email us.
Yeah, we'll put it on a live stream. Yeah. And then we'll do it on acid as well.
And then I'll die, so it'll be like a death stream.
Yeah.
God damn it, it'll be funny.
Okay, and our statement of the week this week is...
Who cares? That's what it should be.
We'll go back to the classic. If you lie to yourself, anything is possible in this world. life is full of holes. Enter wisely.
Bye.
Use guns to make more holes.